What's going on, guys? If you have any interest in the world of menswear, especially when it comes to stuff like suiting, then you are probably aware of what's going on this week. For those of you guys who aren't, this week is PT Uomo, which is basically a big menswear buying and selling show that happens over in Florence. It actually goes on twice a year, and the summer installment is happening right now. I got the chance to go last year, and it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in my life. And it's really pretty fun. I think about it like this way. It's kind of like the Comic-Con of dandies, of guys, who are really into suiting. But it's really cool. You get to go and meet up with a bunch of like-minded men. There's actually buying and selling that goes on, but really one of the things that over the last few years it's turned into is a way for the taste makers or the influencers, whatever that means, for the guys who are kind of ahead of the curve to establish what the upcoming trends are. Either way, it's kind of fun to pay attention to. One of the things that I noticed a lot when I was there that I'd seen over the last few years, and I'm still continuing to see this year, is this idea of guys going sockless in their suits. It's something that some guys would say is kind of peaked and crested, and I would agree with that, because even looking just a couple of years ago, going sockless with your suits was done in such a way that it was so bad that it really kind of ruined it. But there is a way to do it right and have it still look kind of timeless and appropriate. And I want to talk to you about that today, because honestly, when it comes down to going sockless like in your casual wear, if you think about throwing on a pair of boat shoes with some shorts or a pair of Chuck Taylors with a pair of light jeans, it's pretty hard to screw up the sockless look. But when you're trying to do it with suiting, then a little bit more of a challenge is introduced. And so I want to walk you guys through a couple of different things that are necessary in order to be able to make this happen right. So we can break it down into 3 different variables. The first one is that you have to have the right aesthetic going on with your suit. Most of that comes down to material and weave. Some of it may be things like pattern or even color, but the biggest thing is going to be the material of the suit. Number 2 is going to be what you're wearing as far as your shoes are concerned. And then number 3 is whether or not you actually have the right equipment, because believe it or not, just sliding your feet into a pair of dress shoes, even if they're designed in a way that they can look good sockless, it's not very comfortable. It's terrible for your shoes, and so you want to have a little bit of equipment with it as well. So let's break these 3 down and I'll walk you through them. Number 1, with the suiting material, the big thing you want to pay attention to is the texture. The more texture there is, the more casual the cloth is, which means it's easier to wear it without socks. Because contrary to what you were seeing a couple years ago, it is entirely inappropriate, it's entirely bogusly trendy to wear a business suit with business shoes without socks. It looks ridiculous, and that's the aesthetic that most guys associate with the trend of going sockless. However, when you're wearing what would be considered a casual suit, something that has some texture to it, and it's made out of a summer weight material, linen, cotton, tropical weight wools, but specifically something that has some feel and some oomph, that texture to it, then all of a sudden you're communicating to the world that you're wearing a suit because you want to, not because you have to. And that means that you have a lot more leeway as far as how dressed down you want that look to be. Therefore, you can get away with doing it sockless. So the big thing to pay attention to is the texture. I've got 2 examples for you here. They're both very similar in color. There's no real difference in pattern. The big variation in here is texture. So if you take a look at this one on the left, this is your regular kind of worsted wool. You can see how smooth and fine this is. This is a no-go when it comes to wearing it without socks. Yeah, if you're a little bit advanced and you want to do something like that with some good pattern, then you can get away with it. But if you're just starting out with this, stay away from something that looks like it should be a business suit. Over on the right though, we've got something that has, this is an open weave, it's a basket weave. And you can just see how palpable this texture is. You can almost feel it through the screen. And that is a huge indicator of the fact that this is an ideal cloth to be worn without socks. All right, so number 2, let's talk about shoes. There's a whole spectrum of shoes that will work with or without socks. Obviously something that's really casual that will work well with your casual clothes, boat shoes, sneakers, something like that, easy to do. When you get into your dressier shoes, then you want to play with this a little bit. Loafers, easy. Drivers, absolutely. Oxfords, not so much. Specifically when you get into things like cap toes or wingtips or these other variations that really are intended to be worn either traditionally in kind of adverse weather conditions, or they become more associated with business attire. These are things that you want to avoid. Now the exception to that, as far as formality goes, is double monks. Double monks, because they have such a versatile appearance, gives them a whole lot of leeway. There's something you can wear with jeans, there's something you can wear with a business suit, and yes, there's something you can wear without socks. And for number 3, it comes down to having the right material. Now I've played around with a lot of different variations in the past. I've tried putting baby powder in my shoes. It sucks, it's uncomfortable, and it doesn't last very long. My feet get sweaty and they stick to the insoles. I've played around with washable cotton insoles, and to some extent those work really well, but then my feet still kind of adhere to the top of the shoe, to the upper on it, on the inside or the tongue, and so that's not as comfortable either. So what I have found to be the best option are no-show socks. Now what I've got on today are a pair from BlackSocks, and I'll make sure that there's a link for you guys to go check these out. What I love about these is not only are they really minimal, but they're really comfortable, and so they completely remove all the discomfort that can come with wearing something sockless, but they completely give off the effect of going sockless. The one caveat that I would give you is they can look a little bit effeminate if somebody catches you in just these. So if you're in an environment where you have to consistently take your shoes on and off, you may be better off just going with the cotton insole route. But if you don't find yourself in that kind of environment, once I got converted to the no-show socks, I can't go back. So I rotate through these quite a bit, and these from BlackSocks, they're really thin, they're hardly noticeable, but they do the job just great. So make sure you have the right equipment, make sure you're wearing the right shoes, make sure that your suit is built the right way, and then just kill it. Go no socks. I hope you guys liked the video. If you do, please leave me a thumbs up. That goes a lot to helping me build my channel and create more content like this for you guys, and I will see you next time.